What is the Player Impact Program? Who's involved and why is it a thing? We're going to get into it right now. Hey guys, Tyson and Brady with Golf Ascending. If you haven't yet, make sure to subscribe to the channel. We upload golf content every week. And today we're going to talk about the Player Impact Program. What is it? Who is involved in it and why is it a thing? So just to begin, the Player Impact Program is essentially a popularity contest, kind of like the FedEx Cup, how it's a season-long tournament. This is a season-long popularity contest, right? And so, what we mean by popularity contest is that, we're talking about the golfers that bring in the most exposure to the game of golf.
Yep.
Whether that be from a Google search or from social media or, or other channels. We're gonna get into that a little bit later. Brady's gonna talk about that. But, how many people are going to be in this program? What is the purse gonna be? So I'm gonna tell you guys right now, 10 people qualify. And it is a $40 million purse. Now, at this point, we don't know if this is going to be divided out equally among the 10 people or if it's going to, work in progression down the line, kind of like a tournament. Yeah. But regardless, $40 million to the top 10 influencers in the golf world. Who are they going to be? So let's get into that criteria. Brady, take it away.
All right, so like Tyson said, a $40 million purse. That is huge. Split between 10 players, that's more than what any player would receive winning a major. So you can see why this is actually a pretty big deal to players, and they're probably going to step up their game. But there are a set of rules or a criteria, or even an algorithm, if you will, to help measure the success of these players and what impact they're doing. And let me also push that it's a positive impact that they want, of course, for the PGA Tour and for golf in general. But we're going to go over these 5 criteria that's listed for the Player Impact Program and kind of talk about what it means and, kind of what's going on right now in the golf world with some of these players who are making an impact. All right, so the first criteria that is set for the Player Impact Program is popularity on Google search. So how often is a player's name being searched? How popular are they? And that's probably part of their algorithm.
Yeah, so this would have to do with potentially how good they are on tour, or maybe it's something that you guys might not be thinking about very much. Maybe someone like Matthew Wolff, he's got this crazy swing that's very unique. What if people are searching, Matt Wolff swing or crazy PGA Tour swing? Guess who's the first person that's going to pop up on that search? Matthew Wolff. So it could be a wide range of things, but popularity is the key there.
Yeah, and I was thinking you could also think of controversy and situation. So you think right now you got Koepka and Bryson DeChambeau going at it, and that is huge feud. It's all over the news. It's all over Twitter. It's all over. People are searching for it all the time. And honestly, that's bringing eyes to golf and kind of a positive thing. So, that could be a part of search, not just the name, but a situation, which is Bryson and Brooks. So the second criteria that we have on the list is the Nielsen brand exposure rating, which measures the value a player delivers to sponsors via his total time featured on broadcasts. So this could mean how often are they shown on TV during events, like featured groups and being interviewed. And again, what Tyson said earlier, if they're playing well, they're most likely going to get more time on TV and broadcasts if they're doing well in the game.
Yeah, and I immediately think of, these big wig brand ambassadors, okay? You guys might be surprised at this one, but, someone like Ricky Fowler, someone like, Bryson DeChambeau, for the Puma brand, they are the face of that brand. And so a lot of times, like Brady was saying, in those featured groups, in those early rounds in a tournament, you see 3 guys. You might see Ricky Fowler, Rory McIlroy, and Justin Thomas, because these guys are kind of popular and they are valuable to the brands in which they represent.
And I'd also like to add, Tyson mentioned Ricky Fowler. He's not a player who's doing really well right now, but he's popular and people like him. So he's kind of an outlier or an exception to the rule. Kind of like we were talking earlier, if you're playing well, you're most likely to get more time on TV. That's not always the case because there are popular players like Ricky out there and people want to see him and they want to see him do well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, when you think Puma, what's the first thing you say? Ricky Fowler.
Yeah. He's the face of Puma and the bright colors and everything. So he's still popular and he could still win a ton of money, more than he could win in any tournament over the year. The third criteria we want to go over is a Q rating, a metric of the familiarity and appeal of players' brand. So I like to think of a lot of players who have their own brand who really are familiar in the face of golf. So you got Bryson, he's got his logo, he kind of has his own little brand. Tiger Woods, of course. Who else you got out there?
Yeah, I mean, Justin Thomas has his own brand. Yeah. You know, even going back to, you know, to Ricky Fowler, the bright colors, the Puma hat, you know, even though it's not his logo, he's putting his signature on, you know, everything that he touches. So I think he falls right into that Q rating.
For sure. And the fourth criteria is an MVP rating, a measure of how much engagement a player's social media and digital channels drive. And so how are they bringing a positive impact to the game of golf through social media and building the game of golf through, you know, their Twitter, through their Instagram? We've now even seen recently Bryson DeChambeau has hopped on the YouTube train, and so he's pumping out a lot of content. So this is a chance for players to really, you know, not only focus on golf, but focus on the game overall.
Yeah, I definitely like seeing Phil Mickelson on Twitter and on social media platforms. Yeah. He is the perfect troll, and we love him for that. You know, someone else who's pretty great on social media as well, fellow lefty, Bubba Watson.
Bubba Watson.
You know, I like how I mentioned both the lefties because I feel like I resonate with that lefty energy. But yeah, both of those guys, you know, definitely, you know, interact with their audience, with their followers, and they create good content. So definitely guys that, you know, you guys should check out.
Yeah, oh, for sure. You gotta follow Phil. I'm a huge fan of Phil, not because of just he's a lefty, but Firesides with Phil, it's so fun. The last criteria that we're gonna mention is the meltwater mentions, or the frequency with which a player is mentioned across a range of media channels. So this can be how often they're mentioned in the news, how often they're on TV, and this could also be within social media where it's not really their own social profile that they're pushing, but it's how many mentions. And man, you can go back to the Bryson and Brooks feud. They're mentioned everywhere, and I'm not just talking about golf channels, I'm talking all sports and other media and news. So things like that, I think, show a great impact.
Yeah, and I mean, if you go, you know, even more depth into this Bryson and Brooks feud, if you take a look at Twitter, I'm sure at some point their tweets and their, you know, hassling each other, negging each other has been viral, has been trending. And so these are the types of things that definitely help in that direction. Something else that I think about is Phil Mickelson in the match. He plays in that charity event with Tom Brady, and this time it's gonna be Bryson DeChambeau.
Guess who jumped in on that?
Aaron Rodgers. So, you know, kind of funny that, you know, Bryson's hopping on this train. I think he's really trying to, you know, build his profile for this impact program.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so those are the 5 criteria for the Player Impact Program, and we want to know and comment below, who do you think is going to be a part of those 10 players who's going to win a part of that $40 million purse? We kind of want to talk about that a little bit right now. Some of the players we think that are going to be on that list for sure, maybe some controversial people as well. But if I were going to say, you know, some people I'm like, okay, these people are going to be on that list, I'm going to say Phil. He won the PGA Championship. He's doing the match. I think Bryson DeChambeau is a lock-in no matter what. Bryson and Brooks. If Bryson and Brooks aren't in that, it wouldn't make sense. They've been talked about more than basically anyone else in golf, at least lately. So those are some of the players I first think of. Like, what are some of the ones that you're thinking?
You know, I definitely think Bryson as well. For lots of other reasons, Bryson brings so much innovation to the game. that people are searching, trying to get better. You know, he has the single length irons. He's got the jumbo max grips. He's got, you know, a whole bunch of just crazy things. Arm lock putter. He's got the 5-degree driver. You know, he's got so many things that are just so interesting about him that naturally people want to search and to try out.
Yeah.
You know, I know personally from research that single length irons have appealed a lot to a crowd that potentially maybe has given up on golf, that has lost faith in the consistency. So I think Bryson, honestly, if he's not like up there in the top 3, I don't know.
Then they gotta redo their criteria.
One that's kind of interesting that I think Tiger Woods is going to be there. Tiger Woods hasn't really done much on the professional stage this year, but you have to think, you know, Tiger Woods has history. So if we go to the Google search stuff, okay, you know, Tiger's been playing for how long, and he has numerous highlight reels. He's got coaching tips. He's got how-tos. He's got several different media, you know, things out there that he's put a stamp on, and you can still search for those. He still
Google
has
search.
that. So I think Tiger's going to be in there.
Yeah.
You know, I think one that's really controversial that I think is going to be in there is potentially Patrick Reed. Here come the boos. But you know, we talk about, you know, negative, you know, is it negative for golf or is it positive? You know, and sometimes negative can be a positive. Like, something negative can draw attention in a positive way. You know, Patrick Reed is the villain. He is the perfect villain in golf, and everybody loves a good villain. You know, and
media loves it, and media is a part of it.
Definitely. You know, and recently I've seen, I think he must have hired a new PR person, because he's got a whole bunch of stuff going out there, you know, biography type things of who really is Patrick Reed.
Positive content.
So, you know, he could potentially be in there. So those are, you know, those are some of the names that I'm thinking about. You know, people that do interesting things that people are curious about in golf always have a shot, in my opinion. You know, someone like Matthew Wolff, potentially someone like Matt Kuchar, you know, just a couple of these kind of oddball variants, kind of like Ricky Fowler. I think Ricky Fowler's going to be in there.
Yeah, he very well might be this year.
But yeah, those are just some of my thoughts. But I mean, who knows? I'm excited to see what it is, how the payout is actually going to work. Is it going to be divided evenly, or is there going to be a true winner? And is that winner going to receive a lot more than everybody else? You know, we'll just have to wait and find out. But if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to hit that like button, click subscribe. We do upload golf content every week, and we'll see you next time.